Hello and welcome to today's webinar on R2 Labor Essentials, Part 1. For today, we're actually going to be doing a deep dive into the resource profile. So obviously we'll be doing an overview, and then we'll definitely take some time to point out some of these specific areas about the resource profile, including the work history, user-defined fields and what they can be used for, resource ratings and how they're set up, certificates, and of course we're just going to be covering the entire resource profile during this webinar. So with that, let's go and get into R2 Labor. So in R2 Labor, obviously one of the main reasons to have a resource profile is so that we know, of course, who our resources are, and to be able to link resources with the skills or with the positions that they perform for us. So when we're going to fill positions, it makes it easier for us to find them. So here on this order, I have an audio technician that needs to be filled. If I go search for resources, that the link between that position and the people that show up that are my audio technicians, that is created through the resource profile. Within this screen, we already see quite a few things that are coming from the resource profile, and we'll definitely learn about them more today. We see our ratings. We see our crew ID and the resource name. Here we also see how many hours the resource has worked within this work week. Some places have some limitations on the number of hours someone can work before they go into overtime. So before I choose a resource for a position, it's really good for me to know how many hours they've already worked. So if they've worked 30 hours and I'm assigning them to a 2-day or a 3-day position, I would know that they're going into overtime. Someone that has worked less, of course, no problem, I can go ahead and choose them. Here we also have their hourly rate, so their rate that we pay them for this position. I may choose to either use someone who is very skilled or someone who's going to be economical for me to use. We have access to their calendar, and then we have some additional comments that we can see. This comment is their driver's license has expired. We also see that when people have certificates. Right at the beginning, of course, we do see their availability. So someone that's green is available for the dates of the order that I'm trying to book them on, and someone who has a red dot, they're not available. If I put my mouse over it, I can see what it is that they're booked on. So in that case, booked on orders. All these are booked on orders. This one not available, that's mainly because they not available, that's because they responded to a request or an availability request and said that they're not available for those dates. If we go and we take a look at someone's calendar, so on their calendar we can see different orders that they're booked on, and of course if they also have any kind of personal events that also make them not available, we would be able to see those on their calendar as well. To access the resource profile, we would do that through the Edit button. And today we're going to be looking at Pete, and we'll look at his resource profile. On our resource profile, we're going to start with some of the basics. First, there are multiple tabs across the top, and then multiple tabs across the bottom section as well. On the top, we'll start with contact information. So of course, that's our basic contact information. We can have a picture of the resource, first name, crew ID, type of resource, if they're in-house, freelance, union broker, or agent. If they are a freelancer or if they work for a union or broker, we can pull the company up from the R2 database. We have the communication email, their address, different phone numbers. All of that is the contact information. Under personal information, we have lots of other fields here that we can record, what department they work for, their nickname, their spouse's name. So one of the keys is keeping good relationships with your resources. So knowing their spouse's name, and later on you'll see more information about them, additional information, all of that, of course, has a lot of value. Birthday, anniversary, again, same thing, maintaining good relationships. Under crew information, we do have, again, our resource type, what their site is, what their home site is. We do have the ability to define different levels for resources. So if we're seniority or skill levels, you can define that within the settings. We have a default pay policy that we would assign to them for any time that they're working, and an hourly cost for any time that they're working on positions that are not within their profile. And then last but not least, up on the top, we have our additional information. And additional information, these are user-defined fields. So that was one of the key points that I wanted to talk about today. User-defined fields allow us to add any field onto the resource profile for our resources, anything that we feel that we need to track. So if you're tracking travel information and you're booking travel for your resources and you need their passport number, you'd be able to create a field for that passport number. And then when you're booking, you just pull up the resource profile, give the travel agent that number or put it into the airline website, and you'd be able to book a flight for them. And then I have t-shirt sizes and the number of company t-shirts, their pet's name, so again relationships. But this gives you a sense for what's possible here. You could add as few fields or as many fields as you like. For travel, if you wanted to have fields for their frequent flyer numbers, so you'd be able to collect that as well for various airlines. There are lots of different things that's valuable for you to collect as far as data is concerned, and all of that can be done here. Moving to the bottom section, let's move back to the contact information on the top. Moving back to the bottom section, of course, this is our positions and skills. This is key information. Again, this links our resources to the positions and skills from R2. These are the same positions and skills that you can add onto orders within the Labor tab on an R2 order. Skills are somewhat of a definition or a description of their skills for a particular position. So for example, for the audio technician, we would be able to say that they are a digital audio workstation specialist or possibly an acoustic engineer. So those give us additional definitions and things that are searchable when we're looking for our audio technicians. We can define which is a primary position, they don't have to be, and we can define the hourly cost for each position. So of course this has an impact on our cost calculations when we're looking at putting an order together and overall profit margins. The hourly cost for the position would impact that cost for the order. Certificates can be added onto the resource profile. A certificate can, of course, define what that certificate is for, who it's issued by, have the issue date, and, of course, what's really important is the expiration date. You would be able to run reports out of R2 just to be able to find when certain certificates are expiring and when your resources should renew their certification. You can also upload a certificate as a PDF or a JPEG if you did want to. The work history. So work history actually gives us a complete running of all of the jobs that this resource has worked for us, and we can see their rating as well. We are going to come back to ratings just to discuss how those are created, how those are populated a little bit down the road, but this is just the work history. It does give you when they work, what position they worked, the order that they worked on, and of course it does also give you their rates. So if you just wanted to look at a history of rates, you'd be able to do that here. We do have a general comments area for each resource, so you can put whatever comments you would really want to. It's a good place just to keep track of kind of, again, the relationships and how things are going with this resource. And lastly, we do have a place for documents. So any type of document attachments. In this case, I've just uploaded a resume. From here, I'm going to go back to the ratings. We saw the ratings both on our work history, and we also saw them on our search resources screen, which is really how we got into the profile today. So the ratings are per job, and the way that we establish the ratings is through answering a series of questions. So In order to demonstrate that, I am going to close out of the profile, and we're going to go back to our orders. So I'll go ahead and save all the changes that I've made. We're back on the search resources screen. Again, this is where we saw the ratings for the first time. And I'm actually going to close out of this. Maybe we'll go ahead and assign Pete to that position first. And then we'll save and exit here. And come out to the orders screen. So that job that we were working on was the fun run, and if I wanted to then go and apply ratings to resources that worked on that job, the way that I would do that is by picking that order, and then here up on the top, one of our menu items is ratings. So we'll go into that. On this screen now, we see all of the people, all of the resources that are scheduled to work with each of their positions. We have their some rate information and duration information, task information. Just makes it easy for us to figure out who it is that we're leaving a rating for. Now, I do have the ability to respond to these ratings one by one, or I could do it for everyone at the same time. And of course, the best workflow would be to do people that are going to end up with a different rating, do those individually, and then do everyone else en masse. So in this case, Pete was great, so we'll go ahead and pick Pete. And here we have two different questions to answer. One is our professionalism, and the other is the technical skills. And for each one of these, we can give a 1 through a 5-star rating. So for his professionalism, I'm going to give him 4 stars, and for his technical skills, I'm going to give him 5 stars. Now, these are set up in our 2 labor settings, and the overall rating for this position is a weighted average. So when you're looking at building these questions, you can give a different weight to each question. So my professionalism question actually has a weighting of 3, and my technical skills question has a weighting of 5. So it'll average out the 4-star and the 5-star responses to somewhere higher than 4.5. But just so that you know that it is a weighted average for each one of the questions. And we'll go ahead and accept that. And then I'll go and pick basically everyone else, except Pete. And then over here I have the ability to respond to the ratings for everyone. So everyone else is getting 4 stars from me. And now I apply those ratings. And those ratings will, of course, apply to an overall average for that resource that come up when we are searching for resources. Thank you so much for attending today. If you have any questions, please reach out to us.